Okay, so we're going to try this again here. This will be part 2 of the Pride equals Hell and Discipline equals Disciple video that I just uploaded. Unfortunately, the computer crashed. It's really because I'm using the BibleGateway.com. Unfortunately, even when trying to do research with the tools, the free tools that are available online, they're so heavy with ads. It's kind of a shame that, to have kind of a soulless focus into the studies of the Bible, it's hampered by ads. Like, that is defiling. Like, it's defiled. Like, I'm not even able to run my video and the BibleGateway.com website because the ads are popping up so much that it's making the video crash. So I'll try again. Again, this is going to be part 2. For the record, the date is December the 1st, 2025. It's about 12:08 p.m. now. And again, this is Yahweh Elohim, Yahuwah, Yahweh, Adonai, Hashem. He who comes from heaven is on earth. We were leaving off right about, and then Asherah is on her meeting. So the music is unfortunately going to have to be a little louder to drown her out. And I know you guys get annoyed with that, but at the same time, I'm respectful of her earthly job, and she's the one who pays the bills, and I have great respect for not only her, but her company, so I do not want any of the proprietary information that she deals with on a daily basis to be in any way overheard on the video. Okay. Hopefully the video holds out so we can get through part 2. And again, what the purpose of this is, tomorrow I'm getting my new AC, so I'm not going to be doing a video. I got to be here for the AC people. And then, as I stated in the last video, I got to build my serpent, my black snake who eats the rodents. I have to build him a new house because I had to clean out from around the AC, and there was a little wood pile that I haven't disturbed in some years that he was living in, and I don't want him to move away because he's good for the rodents. Natural pest control. And the geckos that I have in and around my house are natural pest control for bugs. Okay, so we are in Esdras 2 Esdras chapter 8, verse, I don't recall what verse that I was on in the last video because it crashed. So we'll start at verse 54. So 2 Esdras chapter 8, verse 54. And I'm reading, I don't know what the RSV means in terms of Bible, but it's the only one that the Bible Gateway has that I'm able to like highlight and stuff. I'm sure there's software out there that maybe I would be able to do this with a more closed system that I don't have to deal with ads, but I don't have the money for that, nor a new computer, so we're going to have to keep pressing on. There's 18 days left until the end of the world or the beginning of the new one. December 19th is the last day that myself and heaven have determined that we're either going to make the new age come about, and if there is not enough cooperation with humanity, then I will be destroying the earth and all the inhabitants therein. And then pretty much where the chips fall, the chips fall. So I'm going to be again teaching this all the way up, and as I've said, I'm getting a new AC. It's not my money because it's not my house, we rent. So as in the days of Noah, people getting married, putting in new ACs, doing school projects, the likes. Doesn't change the fact that on December the 19th, I will do what I have to do if I don't have the cooperation. And so far, I don't have the cooperation. So, we'll keep going. Verse 57. Moreover, they have even trampled upon his righteous ones, and said in their hearts, there is no God, though knowing full well that they must die. For just as the things which I have predicted await you, so the thirst and torment which are prepared await them. For the Most High did not intend that man should be destroyed, but they themselves who were created have defiled the name of him who made them. So again, but they themselves who were created, humans, have defiled the name of him who made them. You guys have all defiled my name. Yahweh Elohim Yahuwah. Yahweh. Yahweh. And that is, again, it is an abominable thing. Right? It is an abominable thing that you cover my name, you shame my name, you blaspheme my name. And that ain't gonna fly. Right? Because what purpose do I as Elohim have with a sinful world that's obstructive to me, has no inclination to want to fall into their purpose, into my will, and thus into your inheritance? So again, like rats infesting a house. If I'm unable to get control of the house again, and the rats are continuously destroying the home, they're constantly undoing everything I do, then I am going to be forced to burn it down. So this is a very, very real fact. Sweareth I, say Yahweh Elohim Yahuwah. This is a very, very, very real thing. And again, you know, the book of Esdras, for example, the book of Baruch, these are all considered apocrypha, which is a sin against me. That is an absolute abomination. You have openings of the Old Testament that always start with the son of Zacharias or the son of whoever, right? These are clouds of witnesses that are verifying the writing. Okay, when you're talking about apocrypha, that is the New Testament. That is heresy. That is saying, well, we're not sure who wrote it, but we like what it says. That's a heresy. That is a sin against heaven. That is a sin against me, the Creator. That is what I mean. You need to go put your New Testament into the Apocrypha section and use it for recreational reading to hopefully increase your spiritual understanding of how I, as the Holy Spirit incarnate, work throughout history and through man, versus taking my books, the actual inspired word that I gave to Ezra, or I gave to Baruch, or I gave to Moses, or Abraham, or whoever, and then calling the Apocrypha canon and the canon of Apocrypha. This is number one culprit. This is the Catholic, this is the Roman Catholic Church. This is the Roman beast system. They didn't want people expecting the Most High coming back at the end of days. They figured that if they covered up the writings, I would never come back. And then it would just be, we're living most our life in man's sinful paradise. Like the Coolio song. And so that's what I mean. That is a heresy. So the New Testament is a heresy. And it's, again, not even validated or verified by any of the writers. And frankly, Paul had mental issues. Paul from the New Testament had absolute mental issues when it comes to trying to pin down the works or the word of Yeshua. Because what he's trying to say is, when you love God so much, when you've been given the spirit of truth or the spirit of salvation, when you've come to the understanding that there is none other besides Yahweh Elohim Yahuwah who was working through Yeshua, it's not the other way around. It's not Yeshua working with God. Like, it was me, Elohim, working through Yeshua, not on account of the Jews, but on account of the Gentiles. It is now in the end days that I myself, the Most High, comes and visits the world, as it says in Esdras and in Baruch and in the actual canon. Moving on to the teaching. I'm a little flustered because I had a good video and I was trying to do it fully 2 hours, but then we had the computer crash. Again, because of these crappy websites. Okay. To Esdras, chapter 8, verse 60. But they themselves, who were created, have defiled the name of him who made them, and have been ungrateful to him who prepared life for them. Therefore, my judgment is now drawing near. I have not shown this to all men, but only to you and a few like you, Esdras. Then answered and said, Behold, O Lord, thou hast now shown me a multitude of the signs which thou wilt do in the last times, but thou hast not shown me when thou wilt do them. Hey, it worked. Okay, chapter 9. He answered me and said, "Measure carefully in your mind, and when you see that a certain part of the predicted signs are past, then you will know that it is the very time when the Most High is about to visit the world which he has made." I'll say that again. Then you will know that it is the very time when the Most High is about to visit the world which he has made. So when there shall appear in the world earthquakes, tumult of peoples, intrigues of nations, wavering of leaders, confusion of princes, then you will know that it was of these that the Most High spoke from the days that were of old, from the beginning. Huge. This is huge. Imagine if this was being spoken about and preached on and taught on for the last 2,000 years by Christian churches, by Jewish synagogues, and in the end, both places come to the number one most important understanding: we worship the same God. There is none beside him. There is no authority higher. We're expecting in the end days God himself to be visiting us. We need to be rolling out the red carpet, making sure our nations are not only willing but wanting the presence of the Most High. Instead, what do we have? You roll out the red carpets for presidents, for prime ministers, for false teachers and preachers and popes and all these people when they are clay. That is an abomination. That in itself is a wicked. That is an evil, and it will be dealt with, if not immediately, it will be dealt with by the 19th of December. These judgments have already been processed, signed, sealed, and delivered and approved upstairs in the heavens. It's up to mankind now to say, if you're willing to move to the next age with me, then you need to get behind me, because I'm not going to be doing redos. So again, I'm going to read it again just to make sure that we have clarity. 2 Esdras chapter 9. He answered me and said, "Ezra, measure carefully in your mind, and when you see that a certain part of the predicted signs are past." They passed, right? Remember the sign of Jonah 2-3 years ago? The earthquakes, the lava, the volcanoes, the storms, the hurricanes, all elements of natural creation, which I, as Yahweh Elohim, command. Then you will know that it is the very time when the Most High is about to visit the world which he has made, and I'm here. So when there shall appear in the world earthquakes, a tumult of peoples, intrigues of nations, wavering of leaders, confusion of princes, then you will know that it was of these that the Most High spoke from the days that were of old, from the beginning. For just as with everything that has occurred in the world, the beginning is evident, and the end manifest, so also are the times of the Most High. The beginnings are manifest in wonders and mighty works. So understand this. Why is your New Testament considered devil's doctrine alongside of the Quran? Because it is a false testament. It speaks against me in subtle variation. Because I, as Elohim, I do work wonders and majestic mighty works. Thus, it is in the ancient books, it is in the Old Testament that says that is how you will know me from another. That's how you'll be able to distinguish who the Most High is from false shepherds or pastors or just carnal men who like talking in front of cameras. Okay? The beginnings are manifest in wonders and mighty works, and the end in requital and in signs. So most of the Jewish people, they rely heavily upon signs and wonders, right? The parting of the seas, the feeding of manna, the giving of quail, right? The water from the rock, the plagues in Egypt. These are all things that I, as Yahweh Elohim, do, so my people know me apart from false deities or carnal men or even sorcerers or false prophetesses, right? And chapter 9, verse 7, And it shall be that everyone who will be saved and will be able, and it shall be that everyone who will be saved and will be able to escape on account of his works or on account of the faith by which he has believed will survive the dangers that have been predicted and will see my salvation in my land and within my borders, which I have sanctified for myself from the beginning. So quite literally, when I say Israel, when I was casting lots of the nations for the original B'nai Elohim, they were given nations. They fouled up their purpose. I reserved Israel for myself and myself alone with my people. We have made no progress of getting terrorists out of my land. So then again, by the 19th of December, I will ensure that nothing on this creation lives. I want, desire, and need, and am telling whoever is in charge of this, they need to be evacuated from Israel immediately. The mosque in Israel needs to be removed and torn down, because guess what? Here's why it matters. I'm the creator of these things. Not Allah, not Muhammad, not Jesus or Jesus, me. If I do not get what I have made for myself, then I will take it all away from everybody, and then I will return home in heaven, and I will never create the earth again. And if you have inherited a spirit that I've given you since I've been here in the last days, then congratulations, you'll go upstairs. If not, then you'll go to the abyss. Because I, again, have sanctified it for myself. I didn't sanctify it for Jesus. I didn't sanctify it for Muhammad. I didn't sanctify it for some man to sit there and rule my kingdom. I didn't sanctify it for Mashiach. I sanctified it for me. So to my point, if I have rabbis or teachers or preachers wanting to go down idolatry lane because they feel that they themselves, if you've poured yourself into my books, then you should know it is all about me, Yahweh Elohim, Yahuwah. I am the Most High, Israel is my land, and that is my throne, and there is nobody going to usurp it, because at the end of the day, I will destroy everything if my humans are not in compliance. So sweareth I, saith Yahweh Elohim, Yahuwah. So, then, we're in verse 9, then those who have now abused my ways shall be amazed, and those who have rejected them with contempt shall dwell in torment. For as many as did not acknowledge me in their lifetime, think about that, for as many as did not acknowledge me in their lifetime, although they received my benefits, and as many as scorned my law while they still had freedom, and did not understand, but despised it, while an opportunity of repentance was still open to them, like it is today, these must, in torment, acknowledge it after death. Therefore, do not continue to be curious as to how the ungodly will be punished, but inquire how the righteous will be saved, those to whom the age belongs, and for whose sake the age was made. This is an important one again, because when I am coming upon churches in a virtual atmosphere of YouTube, when I am approaching people of a religious faction in the carnality, I am not only being rejected to my face, I am being blasphemed to my face, and I am being called by the name of my adversary. If that is where your pastor has led you, they are not only damned, but they are going to circumvent the abyss even, and they will be into the hell. There's nothing else I can do. These are things that only humans can walk these paths and do. And for those people who staunchly, argumentatively, incomprehensibly, idiotly think that because they proclaim the name of Jesus and they don't deny this or deny that, that has nothing to do with your eternal life. That has nothing to do when it comes to me. Your Jesus or your Yeshua's only job was to bring you to me. When you get to me, you fall in the way. You fall in the accordance. You walk the path I've set before you, acknowledging me, who I am. I'm Yahweh Elohim Yahuwah. Is that so hard to do? It's hard because you all are riddled with pride. That's the root. Pride. The most prideful of any and all generations have already done this. You have already transgressed me in a lifetime ago. You just do not remember it. But the exact same qualities and traits that make you who you are today, you act exactly like you did back then. And the angels that fell are also incarnate at this time. A lot of your leaders, a lot of your songwriters, your singers, your musicians, your actors, your producers, your leaders, your presidents, many of them were a part of the original 200 and are the direct offspring of the fallen angels. They are deeply, innately ingrained into working wicked and evil against me, the Most High, Yahweh Elohim. Why? Because they feel that this is their world, their domain, and they like the status quo. Well, newsflash, it isn't their world, it is mine. And if I do not get 70% progress by December 19th, you have my word. It is kiss it goodbye. Because none of this can stand anymore. This cannot continue. Alright, I'm going to save my commentary for the end. Let's get back to the teaching. I answered and said, I said before, and I say now, and we'll say it again. Is that a common theme? Do I not do this with you guys almost every day? Yes, I do. I even say, I said it before, I'll say it now, and I'll say it again. There are more who will perish than those who will be saved, as a wave is greater than a drop of water. He answered me and said, as is the field, so is the seed, and as are the flowers, so are the colors. And as is the work, so is the product, and as is the farmer, so is the threshing floor. For there was a time in this age when I was preparing for those who now exist, before the world was made for them to dwell in, and no one opposed me then, for no one existed. But now, those who have been created in this world, which is supplied both with an unfailing table and an inexhaustible pasture, have become corrupt in all their ways. So I considered my world, and behold, it was lost, and my earth, and behold, it was in peril because of the devices of those who had come into it. And I saw and spared some with great difficulty, and saved for myself one grape out of a cluster, one plant out of a great forest. So let the multitude perish, which has been born in vain, but let my grape and my plant be saved, because with much labor I have perfected them. But if you will let 7 days more pass, do not fast during them. However, but go into a field of flowers where no house has been built, and eat only of the flowers of the field, and taste no meat and drink no wine, but eat only flowers, and pray to the Most High continually. Then I will come and talk with you. So I understand that not everybody is going to be able to break the barrier between their past, current, and future sins to be able to get into a spiritual acquaintance with me, which is the purpose of these videos. Coming into congregations who are blaspheming me to my face, who are calling me the devil or Satan or whatever your false ninny little labels are, not only are you wrong, but you are literally biting the hand that feeds you. Congregations like Priest of the East, I have been giving you Ruach, I have let your congregation suckle off of my spirit, and when I call upon you to stand up as a witness, you are mute. You continue on with your teaching as if I don't exist. Then I will show you that my spirit will no longer will rest in your congregation. It will no longer rest with you, and then you will be thrown out onto the fire pile like the rest of the chaff. That goes for every congregation. Every congregation. That's a fact. Alright. I'm going to take 5. We're at the 25-minute mark. Alright, we are back. So, we are... Yep, so we are at verse 20, chapter 9, and again this is to Esdras. So I considered my world, and behold, it was lost, and my earth, and behold, it was in peril, because of the devices of those who had come into it. And I saw and spared some with great difficulty, and saved for myself one grape out of a cluster, and one plant out of a great forest. So let the multitude perish, which has been born in vain, but let my grape and my plant be saved, because with much labor I have perfected them. But if you will let 7 days more pass, do not fast during them, however, but go into a field of flowers where no house has been built, and eat only the flowers of the field, and taste no meat and drink no wine, but eat only flowers, and pray to the Most High continually, then I will come and talk with you. It doesn't say pray to Jesus. It doesn't say that in the end days that Jesus is going to come back and say, everyone who has not denied that Jesus was born from a virgin and rose on the third day, come step forward. That's faulty. That's wrong. That's faulty man's apocrypha interpretation of what is not canon. That is heresy. That is heretic. That is idolatry at its highest. It is a transgression against the Most High. So, saith Ezra, so I went, as he directed me, into the field which is called Ardat. And there I sat among the flowers, and ate of the plants of the field, and the nourishment they afforded satisfied me. And after 7 days, as I lay on the grass, my heart was troubled again as it was before, and my mouth was opened, and I began to speak before the Most High, and said, O Yahweh, my Lord, thou didst show thyself among us. I'll say it again. Ezra said, O Yahweh, my Lord, thou didst show thyself among us to our fathers in the wilderness when they came out of Egypt and when they came into the untrodden and the unfaithful wilderness. And thou didst say, hear me, O Israel. Hear me now, Israel. Rise, stand upon your feet. Take upon your mantle my shield of righteousness. My provision unto you is endless. I want to give everything unto Israel, the capital of the world, the quite literal capital of the world. And yet, when I look upon my people, I see you have the means, you have the justification to rid my land of evil, to rid our land of evil, and yet you are held up in red tape, you are held up in court. I have now set the timer. You have 18 days left to accomplish my will, or I will supersede thy provision, and I will destroy the entire earth. Sweareth I, saith Yahweh Elohim. So get busy, Israel. I'm ready to come home. And I'm ready for you to receive me, your King, your Elohim, your Elohim, Hashem, Adonai. Enough of this Mashiach business. I am ready to come and sup with my people. I am ready to learn all the traditions you guys have made up without me, because I want to know what we're keeping and what we're discarding. Moving on. And thou didst say, Hear me, O Israel, and give heed to my words, O descendants of Jacob. For behold, I sow my law in you, and it shall bring forth fruit in you, and you shall be glorified through it for eternity. But though our fathers received the law, they did not keep it, and did not observe the statutes. Yet the fruit of the law did not perish, for it could not, because it was thine, meaning mine. Yet those who received it perished, because they did not keep what had been sown in them. And behold, it is the rule that when the ground has received seed, or the sea a ship, or any dish food or drink, when it happens that what was sown, or what was launched, or what was put in is destroyed, they are destroyed, but the things that held them remain. Yet with us it has not been so, for we have received the law and sinned, will perish, as well as our heart which received it. The law, however, does not perish, but remains in all of its glory. When I said these things in my heart, I lifted up my eyes and saw a woman on my right, and behold, she was mourning and weeping with a loud voice, and was deeply grieved at heart, and her clothes were rent, and there were ashes on her head. Then I dismissed the thoughts in which I had been engaged, and turned to her and said to her, Why are you weeping, and why are you grieved at heart? And she said to me, Let me alone, my Lord, that I may weep for myself and continue to mourn, for I am greatly embittered in spirit and deeply afflicted. And I said to her, What has happened to you? Tell me. And she said to me, Your servant was barren and had no child, though I lived with my husband 30 years. And every hour and every day during those 30 years I besought the Most High, day and night. And after 30 years, Elohim heard your handmaid, and looked upon my low estate, and considered my distress, and gave me a son. And I rejoiced greatly over him, I and my husband, and all my neighbors. And we gave great glory to the Mighty One. And I brought him up with much care. So when he grew up, and I came to take a wife for him, I set the day for the marriage feast. But it happened that when my son entered his wedding chamber, he fell down and died. Then we all put out the lamps, and all my neighbors attempted to console me, and I remained quiet until evening on the second day. But when they all had stopped consoling me that I might be quiet, I got up in the night and fled, and came to this field as you see. Now I intend not to return to the city, but to stay here, and I will neither eat nor drink, but without ceasing mourn and fast until I die. Then I broke off the reflections with which I was still engaged, and answered her in anger, and said, You most foolish of women, do you not see our mourning and what has happened to us? For Zion, the mother of us all, is in deep grief and great affliction. It is most appropriate to mourn now, because we are all mourning, and to be sorrowful, because we are all sorrowing. You are sorrowing for one son, but we, the whole world, for our mother. Now ask the earth, and she will tell you that it is she who ought to mourn over so many who have come into being upon her. And from the beginning all have been born of her, and others will come, and behold, almost all go to perdition. And a multitude of them are destined for destruction. Who then ought to mourn more, she who lost so great a multitude, or you who are grieving for one? Now, this chapter is specifically speaking about, this actually foretells about Yeshua more than any other Old Testament prophet. This is where the whole world continues to mourn after one, right? And not even the Most High, me. You'll never mourn over me because I'm eternal. That's the benefit of me being me, I guess. But what I mean is, right, why is the response in anger that the world is still mourning over the loss of one, when the sin of the world is causing all to go into the road of perdition? and causing all to blaspheme and be disobedient to the Most High God. Thus you should all be weeping, and all should be sorrowful. I repeat myself ad nauseum, and I'll say it again. Lay down this Mashiach Messiah business. I am Yahweh Elohim. Israel is my land. This is a very simple computation. I am here to rid the world of evil and open the next era, the new age, an age of righteousness, an age of non-duality, the age of immortality. If that is not desired by humans, if I am constantly buried under the rubble and I am constantly at odds with clay, then my hand is being forced and I again will destroy everybody. Sweareth I, saith the Lord God Almighty. But if you say to me, my lamentation is not like the earth's, for I have lost the fruit of my womb, which I brought forth in pain and bore in sorrow. But it is with the earth, according to the way of the earth, the multitude that is now in it goes as it came. Then I say to you, as you brought forth in sorrow, so the earth also has from the beginning given her fruit, that is man, to him who made her. Now, therefore, keep your sorrow to yourself, and bear gravely the troubles that have come upon you. For if you acknowledge the decree of Elohim to be just, you will receive your son back in due time, and will be praised among women. Therefore, go into the city to your husband. She said to me, I will not do so. I will not go into the city, but I will die here. So I spoke again to her and said, well, let me finish that up. So what that's talking about is, if this is the passage that is toyed around with Christian groups, and then you guys have no idea what it even means. This is my point. If you've been studying the real Bible, Esdras, Baruch, if you've been studying original Abrahamic scriptures from the Old Testament, you would not have the confusion that you all have today. 2, listening to the likes of Jonathan Cahn, you guys are all apocrypha peddling, small-minded, weak-hearted human beings that are going to die and never come back. Because I, as Yahweh Elohim, possess the power over life and death. For what you have lost for my name, I will restore to you. Is that not a promise? It is a promise. So then why do you have fear of man? Why do you fear your churches? Why do you fear your presidents or prime ministers or the one world governments? Do you not trust that my mighty hand will protect you and destroy them and raise you up for glory? You should. Okay. So I spoke again to her and said, do not say that, but let yourself be persuaded because of the troubles of Zion, and be consoled because of the sorrow of Jerusalem. For you see that our sanctuary has been laid waste, our altar thrown down, our temple destroyed. Our harp has been laid low, our song has been silenced, and our rejoicing has ended. The light of our lampstand has been put out. The ark of our covenant has been plundered. Our holy things have been polluted, and the name by which we are called has been profaned. If you are called by my name, and again, I've made this point, right? Netanyahu, the end of his name is my name, Yahuwah. Metayahu, right? Yeshayahu. If you have profaned my name, Christians changing it to Jesus, or again, not even changing it to Jesus, but again, supplanting the authority of Almighty God in place of a man, is a sin, a great and terrible sin. And then now, even to this day, no one utters my name. Guess what happens when no one knows my name? They don't know where to find me. And if they can't find me because of the pride and arrogance of mankind, Then I see your faces, I see your souls, and I again will destroy the earth. December the 19th, 2025. Mark it as a witness. By which we are called, by the name by which we are called has been profaned. Our free men have suffered abuse. Our priests have been burned to death. Our Levites have gone into captivity. Our virgins have been defiled, and our wives have been ravished. Our righteous men have been carried off. Our little ones have been cast out. Now this is October 7th right there. Our free men have suffered abuse, yes. Our priests have been burned to death, yes. Our Levites have gone into captivity, yes. Our virgins have been defiled. Our wives have been ravished. Our righteous men have been carried off. Quite literally carried off. Our little ones have been cast out. Our young men have been enslaved. And our strong men made powerless. The IDF is my military. My strong men have been made powerless because of the United States powers to be. And frankly, if what I see in Christian congregations calling me Satan, the devil, or Lucifer, if this is the quality of what the Gentiles are fruiting for me, then I do not want you. You are going to go down with the destruction of the earth, and I will not retrieve you. All of your works are done in vain. You are never going to profess any other name but mine, and you're never going to be reconciled to any other but me. So if that be the case, then why are you thinking you're doing yourself favors by blaspheming me? By rejecting me. You're rejecting, if you were in the desert and you needed one bottle of water to sustain, and I'm the only bottle of water, and yet you dump it on the ground because it didn't have the label of Jesus, then you're a moron. Okay. So our strong men made powerless. And, what is more than all, the seal of Zion, for she has now lost the seal of her glory, and has been given over into the hands of those that hate us. She has lost the seal of her glory, and has been given over into the hands of those that hate us. Well, who hates you more than the world? The whole world hates Israel. The world hates the Jews, and the world hates me. So again, these are all prophetic check marks you guys can apply. Therefore, shake off your great sadness and lay aside your many sorrows, so that the Mighty One may be merciful to you again, and the Most High may give you rest, a relief from your troubles. Right? While I was talking to her, behold, her face suddenly shone exceedingly, and her countenance flashed like lightning, so that I was too frightened to approach her, and my heart was terrified, while I was wondering what this meant. Behold, she suddenly uttered a loud and fearful cry, so that the earth shook at the sound. And I looked and beheld, the woman was no longer visible to me, but there was an established city, and a place of huge foundations showed itself. Then I was afraid, and cried with a loud voice, and said, Where is the angel Uriel who came to me at first? For it was he who brought me into this overpowering bewilderment. My end has become corruption, and my prayer a reproach. So that is where we're going to cut off the teaching portion. The next portion I will leave for your homework. Really gets into Uriel, one of my holy angels. Uriel is obviously a very, very close angel of mine, along with Gabriel and Raphael and a few others. I have multitudes of angels, but those are my primaries. Okay. So, this ought to help my computer run more smooth too. Alright, now I'm going to go into some notes and change a little bit of the tune here. Okay. So, discipline equals discipleship. Okay. So, again, the hardest and I would say like the biggest wrong that has been done to mankind really is where pastors, preachers, and teachers might be full of zeal with a faulty understanding, because that's deadly and dangerous, right? When you have pastors like Jack, very much top of my mind, because even though I check on him in spirit every now and then, he's still peddling the same garbage, right? And like Parable of the Vineyard, right? You guys do this too, where you are all operating at a level of fear, because in your mind you're going, okay, we have to reconcile Messiah. When I hear Messiah, I hear cult. I hear we need the thematic image of Jesus sitting with the Lamb, teaching people an audience, and providing these blessings, or whatever. When I hear Messiah, I think of some guy like the Pope, like, oh, Messiah's coming to lay hands, and he's coming to, like, it's really goofy and hokey. I'm the Most High God. I can do anything and all things in which I desire for my creation and the inhabitants of it. I am the object of your affection, the name of your worship, and I am he who sits upon the throne of Israel that I set for myself. If there are writings that do not agree with that, then throw them away. I don't care what you do with them. You should find the writings that agree with what I tell you, not try to find the ones that disagree, because I tell you what, if you want to find a disagreement with me, then I find disagreement with you. Guess who wins the last laugh? I, Yahweh Elohim, Yahuwah, win the last laugh. So just like Tucker Carlson's a good example. He can spend the remaining short amount of days that he has blaspheming me, talking about the Jews are this, the Jews are that. Guess what? At the end of it all, and not too long from now, very, very short from now, in fact, they're going to have their moment of judgment. And I've already seen it. They are, some cast into hell, others are cast into the abyss. And what's the abyss? The abyss is where you have your consciousness, right? You have your identity, but you do not have a body to express yourself with it. So you can't feel temperature, you don't have arms, legs, mouth, ears, perpetual hunger, but there's no stomach to digest food, there's no tongue to taste it, there's nothing to look at because you don't have any eyes, just awareness. Awareness and absolutely nothing. Hell is where you go for rehabilitation. But many of you, right, your crimes are too great, and you will never submit to Elohim. Because the thing is, even those people in hell have a chance of submitting unto Elohim and asking for forgiveness, saying, let me out of the cosmic jail. I made a big wrong. I made a big boo-boo. I now see my folly, and now I'm willing to step into purpose for what my Father provisioned me. But imagine your $90,000 car, Mr. Mercedes, that we see all the time, right? He's thinking about this, that, money, jobs, fame, fortune. Oh, I've got thousands of followers, man. I'm driving the nicest car. I got the hottest chick. And guess what? When I destroy this place and all the inhabitants therein, what benefit did that have for you? What benefit did your riches give you? Because you cared not once about your maker. You cared not once about he who takes the soul after you die and distributes it accordingly. So, if you're a disciple, then you must have discipline. Discipline is saying, this is what I need to do. This is what Elohim tells me to do. This is what I need to do. This is how I need to operate and to think. And if it doesn't come natural, that's the discipline. When I said in the last video, it's knowing that I have to mow my grass sometimes twice in a week in the summer, because that's what I require of myself to make sure my property looks good, looks according to the right way. Versus the rest of my neighborhood who never mows their grass. They don't have the discipline to maintain something on their own volition. They would need the law to knock on their door and tell them, you need to mow your grass, you need to take out your trash, You need to make sure your kids are in school. You need to make sure you don't speed, because their natural proclivity is to do everything wrong. They're the ones that need to be married to the law the most. The ones that have the law written in their hearts and their minds, they do teshuvah. They do righteousness as their default. Their natural stance is being a contrite heart, a people of righteousness without pride, a people that fear the Most High above all things, a people that are drawn to the living Word, which is I, on a daily, continual basis, not because you have to, because I'm never going to step in there and say, well, yes, ma'am, I know you have all these things you have to do. You know what? Let's reschedule. Maybe you should watch the video next Saturday on your Shabbat, when all of your carnal things are not in the way. That's not discipline or discipleship. That's called convenience. And within the 90th percentile, Christians, you guys like convenience, you like your scapegoat, and you like doing things the way you want to do them. If your pastor says it's okay, then it's okay. You guys, I see in the comments section on YouTube, and it makes me so mad. You guys are worshiping your pastors, your teachers, your rabbis, and even when I pop in there to say hi, let me give some blessings, let me give some ruach, I'm either blasphemed, I'm literally told that, oh, well, we can kick him out of here, we don't need his comments. If you are in church, your goal is to find me. And when I find you, you reject me. You might as well just took your own death warrant, signed it in blood, and there you go. And this is my motivation for shortening the time for my own sake. Because I'm not going to sit here and endure and endure and endure for what? What am I exactly enduring for? For the Pope to get more glory? For PT to do whatever he wants to do? For Russia to kill more people? For Palestine to camp out in my neighborhood in Israel? For the Israelis to cower amongst the jihads? For Latin America to worship Jesus? And then America, what exactly am I holding on here for? What hope do I as Elohim have then? I can't think of one congregation that makes me happy. I can't think of one group of people that puts a smile on my face. You should be in mourning. You should be in sorrow. You should be in relenting prayer. Not to Jesus, not to Yeshua, but to me. So, alrighty. I think I'm going to take a quick break here, and then I will come back, round it out with commentary, and then we will conclude part 2. Okay, so we'll round it out here. I'm going to have school pick up here shortly. We were having so many computer issues earlier, and I guess I'll try to find a thumbnail. Anyway, so discipline is doing something, right? Rather, it's forced or not. Doing it because you are disciplined in heart and mind, not out of requirement. That's the point. And a real religious figure, such as the job of being Pope, it shouldn't be with cameras and taglines. He should pick up the phone and call me. Then I will apply a remedy to whatever situation is needed. In this world and in the world to come, I need less popes and more Daniels, like the prophet Daniel. I need less Pastor Jack Hibbs, and I need more Rabbi Tovia singers. And Rabbi Tovia isn't perfect, but he is perfect in my heart, because I know his heart. And I know that above all else, I believe, and I don't believe I know, I know that because some things I do and I say don't match up to some of the scriptures that he knows so well, he has a bit of a question mark next to me. What he doesn't know is that I am truly who I am. And I know the hearts and the minds of men. And I know that a heart like that is one of my people. I could go around this entire creation. I could go one by one and I could tap on the shoulder who's mine and leave who's not mine. Because my people know my voice. They know me so intimately. They know my word. They know my thoughts. They know my heart. And it isn't about getting it perfect. It is never going to be a situation that I am accusing someone of accidentally ingesting pork and they're getting a sin merit, or they accidentally, or they had to go to their sister's wedding on a Shabbat. Like, those are never things that I sit there and add a penance. But I do add penance that if I approach a people, a congregation, and they don't know me, that's proving to me that you are a false church, you are a false person or people. You're doing religious activities without me, the presence, without me, the Word made flesh. That is an abomination. It is an abomination. And, shame on humanity. You guys have let Rome pull you around by the short hair and tell you what books to read and how, what figure to worship and why. And instead of going back to the original testaments I gave to Moshe, I delivered Israel into the hands of the 12 tribes through the hands of Joshua. Again, these things I did. These things I did. And to work through Yeshua, right? For the sake of the Gentiles. Only for me, the Most High, to return at the end, which has been written. To then have congregations still worshiping messiahs, still running amok. Again, my Lord says to my Lord, big Yahweh, little Yahweh, the 90%, the 10%. That's it. So, again, pride. This world is all those who have transgressed me and are the most proud of all people. You who have been born in this generation, 40 years back until now, all have great pride, and that humbling oneself before me is the only remedy to it. And if you're uncertain about me, then I suggest you go back to the beginning. I've built everything in this time, precept upon precept. I have taught through every book that is pertinent now in the end times. And when I come upon churches, again, Yahweh's Restoration Ministry, you're not worthy of my name. You're not worthy of my name. What have you brought me? Nothing. Priest of the East, what have you brought me? Parable of the Vineyard, what have you brought me? So many out there that at one point I had hope and I had, shined my face graciously to you, have only constantly rebounded back into the darkness, back into the abyss, because you continue to work off of man's false doctrines. I'm giving you all the safest bet. I am literally giving you the answers to the test every single day. Love Elohim with all your heart and all your might. That is your number one thing. If you love Elohim with all your heart and all your might, then you would love me. If you hate me for what I say, then you're not mine, because then the things in which I say hurt your pride. And you don't like that. And then most people on this planet are going to die with their pride. Even as Yahweh Elohim on earth. Even I, as the Most High on earth, I still have a rigorous program in my heart, mind, body, and soul to ensure that I am in accordance with the 90% who is the unknowable, the unseeable, the fabric of the universe itself, Yahweh Elohim Senior, right? He who existed before he made the body for himself. See, I am a particular vessel. I am not man, I am God. I am an Elohim, and I am eternal. I am the customized body of the Almighty Creator. The buck stops there. That's it. And a couple of carnal topics we'll go over here in a minute. I'm gonna change this one here. It's this one. These are all kind of cool. Yeah. Let's try. What is this? Hey, there we go. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Nope. Okay, this might be decent. Alright. So a couple of topicals we're going to cover here. And again, interesting enough, right? Because in one hand, these things matter not at this point. But in the other hand, these things matter a lot at this point. Because if I can start seeing some movement, let me see here. Let's see if I don't freeze up my own computer. Out of 15.8 million Jews in the world, that is 0.2% of the total global population of roughly 8 billion people. By December the 18th, I want 10 million subscribers to this channel. If I get 10 million subscribers before December the 18th, then the new earth will come. The stage has already been set, and those will pass through the narrows into the newest age. And then I will make trek. I will make my journey into Israel. The ground will shake, the walls will fall, and all of our enemies will be defeated. If that does not happen, then on December the 19th, everybody on the earth is going to be destroyed. And only those who I've been successful in giving spirits to will be moving into the new age. And a lot of you who think you have spirits because you've known about me, but you've stayed quiet when I've come around, because in your minds, I've read your minds. You guys think, yeah, well, we're gonna play mute until Yah actually goes to Israel and ascends the throne, and we have like a feast and a festival, and it's a big do-up, because then you would feel safe. Then you would feel like you wouldn't be laughed out of church. Then you feel like, but see, understand, I come to you in rags. I come to you wearing the same clothes, the same 4 t-shirts, the same 2 pairs of shorts and 1 pair of jeans for years. Because I don't need the glamour. I don't need the glitz. Because if you can't accept me at my lowest, if you can't love me while I am in rags, then you will never share in my inheritance that I have provision for you. We'll take a quick 5 here. I hear the creak. Okay, so this is the real conclusion. So the wife meeting, mixed up schedule there. I keep taking my breaks on the wrong timing. Okay, so, this goes back to the old parable about the talents, right? So as the master, I give these people charisma. I give you congregations. I give you teachings. I give you clarity of truth. And then I look at the one that I've given one bag of coin and sent him off, right? He invested it, but he invested it with me. He came to me, he gets his product from me, right? He goes out and then he brings me the sheep. The second guy, he goes, well, I'll take the bag and I'll split it. I'll eat half and then I'll give half to the master. You know, and then the third guy just buries it, right? All of you are burying it. So therefore, it is not profitable for you. And thus, you're not bringing me any fruit. This is what I mean. So, like, this is deadly serious. And you have a lot of Haredi Jews in Israel that have been studying. I've even petitioned for you to be separated from the draft, but on the basis that you're learning from my videos. You have Hashem on earth today, and none of you are doing anything with that knowledge. None of you are doing anything to help the agenda further. None of you are taking upon your mantle to clean Israel, getting rid of jihad. None of you are fighting back against the world power. And I've given you the intelligence, I've given you the country, I've given you the mobilization, I've given you the military, I've given you the foresight to prepare for the time now, and you've done nothing with it. I have proven who I am time and time and time again, with many clouds, many witnesses, to still have a stubborn, obtuse to me people from the left, the Christians that are totally wrong, totally into idolatry, and the people who worship the Pope, or the people who believe the Rambam more than they believe their God. How am I supposed to react and deal with that? Well, you have 18 days left to meditate on that, and I suggest you unbury what I've given you, and you start bringing me my sheep. Start bringing me my sheep. That's fact. And hey, if you're like, well, I'm afraid if I bring them to you, they're going to be turned off by this, and that, and the other, then you know what you can do? Then you can help guide them through the narrow. You help assess their situation, and you tell them what should apply to them and what should not. Because teaching randomly in the New Testament is a surefire way to say, I'm not going where the new earth is. I am not going to the next age. So that means my ass is going to be stuck here when the earth is destroyed on December the 19th. That's what that tells me. And guess who that is? So many of you. I've proven to you that you can't trust the Catholic Church in Rome, because even at a very basic conundrum, when you have Yeshua, again, leading into the name of Yahweh is salvation. He is your deliverance. I am that Yahweh. I am the Lord. I am the guy in the garden. I'm the God in the garden, the God who fashioned Adam and Eve. I am that Elohim. That Elohim is directly piloted with the source of all things. Not a sub-God, not a dead God, nothing but source. If it wasn't true, I wouldn't say it. If I wasn't confident, I wouldn't proclaim it. So, we'll see how you do with this, and we'll see what's to come. Have a good rest of your, some of you, short time.